Welcome to the Embrace Strength podcast. I'm your host, Ashley Crocker. I am an experienced trainer and active life professional. I work with people who are struggling with nagging pain to get back to the activities they love without fear of re-injury. This podcast is here to educate and provide value to you on all things health, fitness, staying active, and personal development. Let's dive in. Hello and welcome to today's Feisty Friday episode. I'm going to be chatting today all about injuries and how they are just part of an active lifestyle and how you can still remain positive, still move your body, even with what you're dealing with. Okay. And so I'm going to share a personal story from me as this has happened to me recently. If you are new to my world, I had ankle surgery in 2020. I broke my ankle and I had a full ligament tear and I had to have surgery in 2020 on my left ankle. Okay. That whole rehab process is what brought me to my niche and really impacts how I work with people today. So I wanted to share a little bit of that backstory because I injured my left ankle again. Well, my left foot. Thankfully, not my ankle. It was the top of my foot. So what happened was me and Patrick were rock climbing. We've gotten into rock climbing since January, and it's been a really fun activity for us to learn something new together and be active, especially during the winter. We live in Buffalo, so it is very cold during the winter, and that has been just such a nice mental activity to still be active and get out of the house, even if it's cold outside. So we've been doing rock climbing, and our gym has bouldering, which is the shorter walls. They're 10 to 15 foot high, and you're just climbing up the wall. You don't have any ropes attached to you. And our gym also has something called top rope, which the walls are 20 to 30 feet, but you are in a harness attached to a rope and you have a partner they call it your belayer, but basically they lower you down after you get to the top of the wall. So if you fall on top rope, you're going to be caught, right? You're not just dropping to the floor. But when you're bouldering, you are just dropping to the floor. Okay. And so that night we were bouldering and there was this wall that was challenging for me and I really wanted to get to the top of it. So I was like, okay, we're going to do this wall first, right when we get there, because I want to do it when I'm fresh and I want to try and get it. And so we were doing that and I had a first attempt. I didn't get to the top, so I rested and then I went up again and I was so close to the top. I wasn't even at the top though, but I was close, but I was starting to fatigue really fast. I was at this point where I felt like I was stuck. I couldn't quite get my feet where they needed to be. My arms, I felt like I didn't have anywhere to go. And so then I was trying to find a spot to lower myself down a little bit so I didn't have to fall from so high. And I did not do that fast enough. And before I knew it, I had fallen and I was already on the ground. And I think that it just happened so fast that I didn't fall safely. And I even know how to fall. And thinking back, I was like, gosh, that was so stupid. I know how to fall safely, falling on your back, tuck in your knees. But again, like I said, my grip just failed me before I expected it to. And I ended up falling forward. And I fell forward and I'm trying to figure out how to describe this. So I basically fell on my knee, but my foot fell on the top of my foot. And so it was the top of my foot that was hurt. Thankfully, my knee is fine. And I think a big part of why my knee is not more hurt is because I do so much prehab on my knee to keep my joints healthy that I think that really helped save my knee, which I am grateful for. But anyways, so it happened and I was okay, it hurt. It hurt pretty bad. And so we ended up leaving because my foot was just starting to hurt worse and it was hurting to put weight on it. And Immediately, mentally, I am like freaking out because I was like, oh my gosh, like I cannot have surgery on this foot again. Like I'm going to the worst case scenario. Like, oh my gosh, like I'm going to have surgery again. This is going to be so horrible. Like, I'm definitely that like worst case scenario in the moment type of person. And so I was kind of freaking out at first, but I was like, you know what? I'm just going to give it a little bit of time and we're going to see how it feels. Okay. So the thing that was concerning me the most is that it was hard to put weight on it and I could feel it in a specific spot and it was sharp pain. And I know myself, those are red flags, right? Like, so what I tell my clients is like red flags when you get injured are going to be like, you can pinpoint exactly where the pain is. It's sharp pain and greater than a 5 on a scale of 1 to 10. Okay. And so anyways, we go home. I elevate it, whatever. First night, horrible, but it has to be expected because the injury just happened. So obviously I was in a lot of pain. We got my crutches out of the garage, still have those from having ankle surgery. So I was just like trying to stay off it as much as possible. But anyways, trying to shorten this up a little bit. But the first 2 days, really bad. And then the third day started to feel a little bit better. I could move my foot a little bit better. I could move my toes a little bit more. And I was able to put my foot totally on the ground without a large amount of pain. So anyways, by Wednesday, it was still like feeling better and I was kind of itching to move again. And so something that I learned when I had my ankle injury, obviously that injury was much more serious, but that like I still kept moving. I did upper body and core and things seated, whatever I could to still move my body during that time because I also still like worked from home at that time. And if you work remotely or work from home, you know that like movement during the day is so huge. And so like for your body and how it feels and also mentally. And so anyways, by Wednesday, I was like feeling good enough and my body was starting to feel super stiff from like just sitting and not moving. And I'm used to getting like 7,000 to 10,000 steps a day. And anyway, so by Wednesday, I was like, okay, I'm going to start doing like a short workout. And so I did some stuff, some upper body seated, some core work, and I felt so much better afterwards. And then I did the same thing again yesterday. And is my foot totally better? No. I think this is probably going to be like a 6 to 8 week healing process that I'm going to have to go through. But I am still going to focus on what I am able to do, and I'm still going to move my body. I'm not just going to be a potato for 8 weeks. Okay. And the reason that I'm sharing this with you guys is because as an active person, you are gonna have injuries, especially if you're like trying new things, new activities, whatever. Like you are gonna have things that happen, but you cannot let that deter you from moving your body completely. And what I see happens to people a lot is when they have some type of injury, they just stop moving. They stop doing stuff because they think that they can't do anything because they just have this one area that they can't do. And sure, like if you have like something going on with your lower body, yeah, you're probably not going to be able to do too much lower body, but guess what? You still have half a body that you can move. Okay. And even if it's not like ideal or like what you like really want to be doing, you are going to tell a difference physically, mentally, emotionally when you move your body versus when you don't. And this doesn't have to be anything crazy. I think the workouts that I did were probably like 30 minutes and I did 2 rounds of a warm up, 2 supersets of movements, and then good, right? Like just because you can't do your 60-minute full body workout doesn't mean that you shouldn't work out at all. And so no matter what type of injury you have, unless you are like, surgery, immediately post-surgery, whatever, obviously like use your brain. But I think you guys know what I mean here. I just mean you got a little bit of a tweak doing something, right? And then maybe you can't do that thing for a bit, but you can still move your body in other ways. And so I've just noticed that makes such a difference for me in my injuries or tweaks over the past few years, is like to still make a commitment to do what you can and get creative and try to not focus on the things that you cannot do. And in this situation, I have two choices. I can either, one, be super pissed that I can't rock climb and probably won't be able to rock climb for weeks. I could be mad that I was just starting to try to incorporate running again, and I'm probably not going to be able to start incorporating running again for months. I could do that. Or I could accept it and say, okay, I have to take a break from doing rock climbing for a few weeks while I heal, but I'm still going to move my body. I can still do upper body. I can still work on my grip strength. I can still do core stuff. Once I get a boot on my foot, I'm probably going to do some biking, but you get what I mean? Like, yeah. So I just really feel like I wanted to share that with you guys because I think it is something that more people need to hear. And we're not always going to be able to prevent every single injury, especially if we want to live an active lifestyle. It's part of your life, like it's part of life. But what we can do is focus on what we're able to do when we're injured. And then once we are healed a little bit more, we can think about, okay, how can I prevent this from happening again? How can I come back even stronger? How can I rehab this foot even stronger to where there's less of a chance that this was going to happen again, right? Anyways, that's my message for you today. You can't always prevent injuries and you don't have control over that, but you do have control over your mindset, how you approach it, and what you're going to do after. Thank you for listening today. I would love it if you followed me on Instagram at AshleyCrocker127. Check out my website, embracestrength.co, where you can grab your Pain Rules freebie guide. All right, talk to you guys soon.